Yo, welcome back to Afro Wonders, y'all. We're doing something a little different this time. Today I interviewed Sam, an amazing black-owned business owner in the Netherlands. He owns a great cocktail and poetry lounge in the south of Amsterdam called Labyrinth with a super intimate and homey vibe. You ready to learn about Sam's journey to opening and running a successful business in one of the busiest cities in Europe? Alright, good people, meet Sam.
My Christian name is Samuel, name given to me by my parents. Family name is Kingue. That's my family name. So I'm from Cameroon. I was born in Cameroon and I live in France. My family is not in Holland, so I moved in here alone. I was just exploring. I started coming to Amsterdam in the 90s, and beginning 2000, then I moved in here permanently. So since that time, I'm here. Though I go back and forth, traveling, but I'm based now here since 2000. Oh yeah, I travel back to Cameroon to visit family, anytime that I have a possibility. Yeah, that's where I come from. I have a lot to discover, and I'm a nomad. So I always like to go back to see, people. Yeah, but I cannot always go back. That's a side thing. And I also want to discover other countries, other places. But I go often. What brought me to the Netherlands is as I explained, I used to come here before, just for the weekend when I was in France. And and then I fell in love with the city of Amsterdam, because I cannot say the Holland, but the city, because the Holland is big. The city of Amsterdam, and I fell in love. I saw a lot of things there that I did not see in France. Life was so down to earth, and the city center, and the green, it reminds me a little bit of my Africa, where I come from, I could not believe that in a modern society, civilizing, as they call, it was a place like that. That it was a place like that, you see bicycle everywhere, people didn't care about what you wear, you could just be everywhere. Yeah, it was charming, it was charming. So, me with a couple of friends, we decided, maybe, we'll give it a shot. Yeah, the story of Labyrinth, I always have in mind, as an African, our traditional way is, community-based. Community-based, and community come together, and each one bring, they celebrate, everything. The grief of one community, the grief of another community, the joy of one community is, we help each other. We're together. And the way our ancestors translated knowledge, under a tree by storytelling, that's what. So I use that. I see that, okay, yeah, hospitality is something, purpose tool that you can use to bring people together from different cultural backgrounds, because our community, like my country, we have more than 250 ethnies. It's huge. Differences there is huge. But when we come together, we live in harmony, with our differences, and it's beautiful, it's wonderful. And then everybody is going out regardless to their social class, for food and for drink. But we don't use food and drinks in a proper way, because those are ritual. We use them to, to go to excess, and get fucked up and wake up and say, shit, with bad hangover, I say, no, I'm not going to repeat it no more tomorrow, And then tomorrow, the same shit again, So it's like, we can use it to transcend certain kind of, social values, and educate people, by bringing them together. Because of prejudice, and also, can lead to wipe out, prejudice, because ignorance is playing a big role among us, and the fact that we don't have access to information, or the one that we have, has been corrupt. So judgment that we have, for one another, are not based on personal experiences, but that, information. So that's why we fear our neighbor because of the image that, portrayed to them. So that, so when we create a space where, people, regardless of their cultural background, they can all come together, So the enter that labyrinth, it could be confusing, and it's confusing, because when you come inside, you cannot identify yourself, very few, similarity you can see, but you think that you have no identity, that you have no identity, and then it becomes, difficult to find your way out. But there is a way out. So that's why, by talking, by listening to stories and all those kind of things. So that's why Labyrinth was born, So at the end we call it soul food. So I have sort of kind of American when they come, beginning to say, but this is not soul food that we know. I say, no, it's, the term soul food, I know that now you attribute it to, a specific area in America, but it's a different soul food. It's what comes from your heart, it's what comes from your heart. That's why it's that, and then you want to share, And so it was very difficult in the beginning. The first 2 years, people could not connect with it. So it was like, but very few people, as soon as they see it, they use it as, a field to practice. And I have a lot of intellectuals, came, I give them a room, they wanted to make it too academic. I said, no. It's not, and some wanted to, have political debate. No, it's nothing to, that's not a direction that, No, we are not against the system, we are not, we're just sending the message, Yeah. So then slowly, and people start, connecting, with the concept. And people come, some of them, things that we talk, tell them what the things is about, And then, some, went out and decided to change themselves, way of being, and then every time they come inside the other side, their energy is lifted, and then they start spreading the message, So, so everything is based on quality, the bar, because beverage is my specialty. I learn it in a high level, I work with it at a high level, and I compete at a high level as well. Because it's very difficult. It's very difficult, because we are marginalized. Society is a reality, it's not an illusion. We are marginalized. So, and we are classified as. Some of us are classified, a group that is unproductive. A group that is unproductive, that nothing good can come from. It's not true. There must be somebody else who does not belong to that group who's hiding behind it. So it's like, so competition was the only way that my work will be appreciated. by experts. So I was like one of the first, that started competing in a very high level here, because I joined the Dutch hospitality in 2001. I did a little bit in France when I was a student, and it was more like, okay, it was more wine, you know. But my cocktail, I developed it over here, because it was in the prime time, and innovation in cocktail world was just, beginning, was the beginning of molecular gastronomy, where science, the chef, the kitchen joined science. That's okay. The bar as well, joined the kitchen in that journey. So everything was transforming. So it was amazing. It was a good time. So and then the press came, because of my performance, and then it was still very hard to accept it, For, well, I say that it's no longer an illusion. It's a fact. A fact you can always, So everything is based on quality. Everything we're using is based on. And to extend projects, just like I wanted to have like any nation, or black culture, to do, a day with, that will promote with their own traditional dish. It's always open. But Amsterdam is difficult because you cannot find, like cities like Paris, London, States. You also have a lot of black people who, have a good education, in cuisine gastronomy, so they have understanding of flavor because you need to have. You will go a little bit in a context of, traditional, where you keep originality, It has nothing to do, it's not wrong. It's not wrong, But because the social approach of a consumer, also modern consumer, is no longer what it used to be, even back home. Because it has been influenced, it has been influenced, and the climate changing and influence, the flavor of what we used to, we have to acknowledge it and take it in consideration. So it requires a little bit of knowledge. About talking about diversity, I think that in Amsterdam is a very diverse city because you have about 180 nationalities that live in here. But what I'm saying is just like at the same time, it's very segregative, if I can say it, but in a very intellectual way. The living together has never been emphasized, not deeply enough. So I can say that maybe people, have been isolated to themselves. So that's why it's the Dutch, I think so. That's maybe I'm wrong, So it's like the black community, the Africans who are coming from, or maybe West African countries, by countries, they're all together. They're all in the same area, but they never come together as one. Each one stay with their own, identity in Good. So they never learn to connect. The Moroccan, the Turkey, they're all by themselves. They never learn to connect. They can, connect with those who are looking a little bit, like them. But they never learn to live together, or communities. They never really learn to live together. And because, and then those other communities, up to town, communities, never really wanted them to come closer or to get involved. So that kind of division makes the situation very complex. Makes it very complex. So that means that because the dog, yeah, kind of very smart, very intelligent. Back to your question, that's why I think it was a problem. But it's also changing slowly, Black people realizing that, we just have all the same problem, So we're one person and come together. As I say, mentality still being the hardest, to convert. It's a long process. And knowing that, corruption is still present to influence, So all those things I just have to, give us direction. Well, that's what we have to. We have to work together. I mean, black people own business. They can, satisfy the desire of, all black people. I wish they have to rely to a white guy to find a job. That's the reality. That's the reality. So, and then I have to stand up tomorrow to go find the same white guy. And maybe it's a white guy that loves me, that feels for me. So we have to take a lot of things in consideration and fight what strategy is about. I don't like to talk about race because there's only one race. It's not me who's saying that. Intellectuals, it's only one race. So why should we keep talking about race? Call it in your time. I don't have to use vocabulary that my ancestors used. They did what they did. I'm doing something different. So why you keep relating me to that? You keep, pushing me to repeat their words and, acknowledge their suffering and have to fight for, my generation to come to not fight like that, to not suffer like that. That's my duty. This generation has, duty to write their own history. I can always relate it to the history of my ancestors that they wrote. What will be my history to write? You understand? So, those are the things that I'm pretty more, focus on. And our ancestors traveled to come here. They built the nation. Their soul is here as well because they built it. So we just have to learn, have to live in harmony. Politician doesn't contribute, so we have to do it ourselves. So so that's what Labyrinth stands for. And then we have.